Mythgard, for those that haven't seen it, is a fully digital card game that's available on Windows, OS X, and also runs on Linux via Steam Proton on Steam. It's also available on mobile, on Android, and iOS. Mythgard does a really good job of eliminating resource variance that we all know Magic has plenty of, while still keeping a lot of the good deck building depth that Magic has, because there's 6 colors in the game, and you can combine combinations of those colors in any way that you'd like, unlike a lot of other games that restrict them. So this deck that we're going to be playing to start is, if you're familiar with some of my older Modern content, it's kind of an Owling Mine style deck. So we've got 2 copies of this artifact Dragon's Teeth here, which says each player draws an extra card each turn. And we pair this with the Stretcher, which says whenever an opponent draws or discards a card, they take a damage. So the goal is to drag the game out so we can kill them with the Stretcher, and then using Dragon's Teeth, we can speed up them dying by drawing extra cards each turn. The rest of this deck is just a 2-color kind of mid-range control deck centered around tools to stay alive, so that way we can leverage those artifacts as our finishers. Make sure my faction missions are set up here. Create 18 serpents. Perfect. All right, let's jump on into the constructed queue and see how it goes. Did I click the right one? I clicked casual. I was like, that's wrong. Okay. Oh, they reordered these in the patch today. Yeah, you can turn sub-only mode off. That's fine. Wanted to say, Abs in here was fun to watch. The deck mostly did what I expected. I got to show off its good sides, which is nice. And I got some good feedback on what to improve. Thanks, K9. I appreciate the submission. So the way the resource system in this game works is every time, whoa, this board is an adjustment. The blue is much brighter than the, I'm used to the darker gray board, and the blue board for winter in this patch is a lot brighter. So rather than having resources in your deck, at any point you can take any card in your hand and burn it. So I'm going to take this red card and burn it here, which gives me a 1 total resource and 1 red gem here. And then when that card gets burned, it goes back into my deck, so the cards that I burn aren't just gone forever. On the right side of my board here, I have a deck tracker, which shows me I have an extract life back in my deck, and it's already been burned, so it's orange. You can see my opponent busy here deploying units all over the board here. The way combat in this game works is when you put a unit on the board, they're deployed to one of the 7 lanes on your side. And then when they attack your opponent directly, assuming that they're not blocked. And any unit in the 3 lanes across from an opposing unit blocks that unit. So in addition to having a Hearthstone-style units attack other units interactive element, it has the blocking style that we're used to in Magic, which tends to make the games very interactive. So I want to play this 3-mana Serpent's Den this turn. So this card requires 3 resources to play, and it requires 2 yellow gems to play out. So when I burn a card this turn, I need to specifically burn a yellow card so I can play this. This is an enchantment, so when I play it, I pick a lane, and this card gives a special effect on this lane for as long as it remains here. The Serpent's Dead, when it comes into play, it makes a 1/1, and at the start of every one of my turns, if it's empty, it makes another 1/1, so it creates endless supply of snakes here. So now, this 3/3, if it wants to hit me, they have to get rid of this 1/1 first. This 2/1, however, is over on the left, so it's not blocked by my 1/1 here. Ollama Ring is pretty good. This is an artifact that gives all of my opponent's minions +1/+1. Are there instant style cards in Mythgard? There are not. So all of Mythgard is played out entirely on your own turn. Not really ready for the stretcher yet. So one of the ways artifacts in this game work is they have a durability. So this one, my opponent's artifact here, has durability 12. And whenever you take damage, your most recently played artifact also loses that much durability. So deploying artifacts when you're in a defensive position tends to not be a good idea, because that means that your artifacts are going to take damage and eventually die. You have 2 rings now. Yikes. So, I mean, any unit they play gets +2/+2. And my deck, it tends to be pretty controlling, so these rings are actually really good against us, because I have a hard time, like, mounting a real offensive against them. Yeah, there's a small number of cards that allow you to make plays on your opponent's turn, but they're definitely more similar to Hearthstone Secrets than Magic Instants, I think is fair to say.
Mission.
That's another Serpent's Den. That's pretty sweet. So I get to go ahead and crunch this in here, I think. What am I doing? I might just want to play the Oak out. You want to play the Oak out over here so we can block these lanes. I want to play the Oak out before I do combat, because the Oak says whenever one of my minions dies, they take a damage and I gain a life. So I'm going to go ahead and trade these off here, which deals 1 to them and I gain 1. And then I probably want to burn something for the turn. Giga Machina is probably going to be useful, but so might 7 Ring Ritual. I think I'm going to burn the Giga, since I have Misanthropia in hands here still. So they killed my thing, and when that one dies, I get to look at the top 3 cards of my deck and then draw a card. I think it's just Maze here. I definitely want a yellow card so I can potentially Misanthropia down the line. Even though my opponent's units are all pretty big, we can, whenever you create your second minion in a turn, draw a card.
Reporting. Do we have a mission?
Other disenchants. There are cards that directly destroy enchantments, but there aren't many of them. That's not a super common effect. Gosh, I wonder if I'm just supposed to Misanthropia this board. I'm gonna wait a turn. You want to deploy this Serpent's Den here. And then Clay Effigy over here. There's a Ring of My Own. Okay, Ring of My Own could be very good here, because it makes my Serpents into 2/2s, which means I can fight with their stuff better. Hey, XM, thanks for the 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. That card's real good. Okay, 2/2 Viper with Alpha Strike across from every minion. Okay, so I'm glad we waited on my sweeper. This is a mobile game too, Durka. I'm gonna go ahead and use my power allows me to give a unit an extra move action. So normally things can't move the turn they come into play, but this one can. I'm gonna slide this over so that way it's out of the Serpent's Den, so I'll get to get another thing next turn. So everything in play was granted Blight 3 for my Misanthropia, which means that they all get smaller every turn until they die. So all of my snakes that currently have that green fuzz in them are going to die next turn, and all of their snakes will get 3/3, -3, -3 again, and get even smaller next turn, on their next turn as well.
At last.
They do have a web browser client. I always forget to plug that one. So you can literally just play without installing anything.
Hey there.
How do you feel about Arena moving historic ranked mid-season? I think it's silly. I think they're giving us a... They are giving us a constructed event to play it in, so it's kind of whatever, but I do think overall them removing it is nonsense. Android doesn't have the patch out yet. Yeah, sometimes the mobile lag's behind. Why not attack their 4/4 snakes if they're going to attack? Oh, their snakes have Alpha Strike. So Alpha Strike's similar to First Strike, only it's better than First Strike in this game because minions attack other minions directly. So if my 1/1s attack their 4/4s, they would just die. So I'd rather leave my 1/1s back, yeah. The problem here with me playing my own ollama out is they have things that can hit me, and like I said, artifacts get destroyed if they take damage. If I take damage, so playing this out's a little bit hazy, especially since they just deployed an overrun unit. And because this game is good software, when I see my opponent's clock ticking down there, I know that it's actually on them and not on me. When your opponent... Not really ready to stretch her yet. Am I? I think I'm just going to 7-ring ritual. And the question after I ritual here is, do I want to burn a card? I'm not sure that I do. I kind of like all of these cards in my hand. So all of their snakes get killed by the blight. My 3/1s can hopefully clean these out.
Copy. We're over the target.
Godsbane transport. Yep. Yep. Alright, so extract life is probably going to help us finish that one off. So this makes 2 2/2s.
Reporting.
So their stuff is currently fragile, right? So if I do this, I can say, hit you for 5, hit you for 5, and then this finishes it. Now the question is, can I finagle not losing my ring this turn? I guess I can play Bull and Tempered Forgeling out.
Come in.
Hopefully does it. Choose an artifact to put on top of my deck. Sweet. Get to put... Oh, did I just click past it? I just clicked past it. Whatever. Meso's actually better. I'm gonna get rid of the extract life for now. So what are the paths? So this path that I have here says whenever I play an artifact, it makes me a forgeling that slowly gets bigger and bigger. So forgelings kind of, my artifacts create forgelings, and then my forgelings can protect my artifacts. They kind of go hand in hand well together, which is nice. That's an 8/8, but it notably does not have overrun. The stretcher here is going to make me another forgeling, and it's going to allow me to put another artifact in front of my ring to protect it. This says, start of your turn, your artifacts deal 2 durability, gets +1/+1 when you create an artifact. That card's really good.
Do we have a mission?
The overlay do the old unload. It totally did. Overlay should be back. Alright, so I think I start by drawing a card with this and seeing what we get. Okay. Now... what am I doing? If I stretch her, it gives me another forgeling. I guess this also gives me a forgeling. And I can suppress that, but that doesn't really do anything, right? There's nothing worth suppressing here. And then if I burn this, I can play this and this. So I can play this out to stun their 6/5. Then I can go ahead and crunch this in here. And I can play this here. And when this enters play, I have to look at my top 4. If there was an artifact among them, I can put that artifact on top. There's not, so they get shuffled back in. I have a chain here now, so whenever they draw a card or discard a card, they take a damage. But again, more importantly, this puts 9 durability in front of my ring, so my ring's more likely to live. Kind of surprised they attacked the 2/2 there, so it's just going to come back. They're down to just 3 cards. If we can find, it's a real shame we didn't find another artifact there, because if we would have changed some artifacts together there, making more forgelings, we might have gotten through this.
We have a mission.
Misanthropia would be a good draw at this point. Would help us clean this board out. Alright, there's an artifact, so there's Dragon's Teeth, which puts another layer in front of, then I can go ahead and wings this over in case they don't kill it. I'll forgeling here. Okay, I can put another Dragon's Teeth on top of my deck. So the Dragon's Teeth is going to let me create another forgeling next turn. We'll see, there's a chance they deal 10 to me and kill this. Am I just dead? No, I'm at 10, right? Yeah, I'm just dead. Yeah, double ring from the opponent there. Just put us too far behind. We're just never able to catch up. They just had so many small things that flooded the board. Hey, we made a bunch of serpents. Thanks, ollama. Ooh. Draw 250 cards in 2v2. Maybe we'll have to set that up and play some 2v2 at some point. Get a sleeve. Hey, Rad. Thanks for the sub-gifties. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday wherever you're at. The decks are random. Weird. Random 3-color 75 card deck with no path, and you draw 2 cards a turn. It's a neat game mode.
Let's feed.
Alright, so probably something aggressive. They have the power that gives 1 extra attack, so very likely something aggressive. I'm going to start by burning Vicious Cycle here, and I'll Clay Effigy over this way to gain 2, basically. Makes an 0-1 and draws me a card. Playing Dragon's Teeth out against an aggro deck's a little scary. We'll see if we can get away with it. Singleton 75 card deck's neat. Alright, so I wish I could play this, but I can't because even though it only costs 2, it requires red. I think I just go ahead and play the Dragon's Teeth here. I'm going to hold off on this Forgeling. Am I? Yeah, no, I was going to play the Forgeling here because it trades with the 2-1. I think that's fine. Sweet, we can put a Stretcher right on top right away. Sick. We got you, Tower Knight. But it looks to be playing red-orange aggro, which is one of the premier aggro decks of this format. Wonderful. See a 3-2 here. If they have a 3-2, playing out the 1-1's a little bit medium. Hey, Tribunal. Hope life's treating you well. Yeah, I played a good bit of this one. I was playing it, probably played it, when did they hit open beta? Whenever they hit open beta was when I started. I'm gonna play Serpent's Den here. Just make a 1-1. I just started playing Mythgard, and then a universal staple as you'd recommend crafting. So, they just rebalanced a number of cards, but I believe Team Rankstar was the content group that had, they had a, Screaming Goat. They had a craft tier list on their website that I mostly agreed with. So I would recommend looking that one up. This gives minions in the opposing 3 lanes fragile and -1 attack. Alright, what am I doing? Giga's not going to be very good here. I think I'm going to Stretcher, which insulates my Dragon's Teeth a little bit here. And then I can maze over this way. And then, once they hit me this turn, I can get my Forgeling down. That'll let me restore some health to my things. Yeah, Screamy Goat lost to power in today's update, looks like. So because this game is fully digital, like most fully digital games, they rebalance cards as opposed to just, like, scrapping them or banning them like we see in Magic. Which is nice. Misanthropia. Yeah, that's great. Alright, so we're going to burn Vicious Cycle here and just blight 3 the board, which basically resets it. So all their stuff dies here. My Stretcher is down to 4 durability here, though. So it could be a real concern about that, that getting destroyed here. Want to get some Forgelings out and off so that way they can die and restore durability to my stuff. We're also down to 18. This deck doesn't have a ton of good ways to gain life. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Alright, so my thing dies to Blight. I think I'm burning... I think I'm burning a red card here. I'm going to firesong Prodigy over this way, which creates an ignition, which is a shock. So ignition gets to kill this 4-1. And then I can play meso libre over here, which stuns this 2-2, so I can't attack next turn. They have another rush minion, which is pretty likely considering the fact that we're letting them draw 2 cards a turn. We could be in a lot of trouble. The lack of life gain in this list feels a little bit rough. I don't have a good way to recover against these aggro decks. And like, the giving the aggro decks 2 cards per turn means they just have like endless gas to pound on us. To Heaven and Back says, we're dead. This says, whenever a minion that's not an angel they have dies on this lane, it goes back to their hand, gets a power boost, and gets a cost reduction. You're right, there's no Wonder Drug in here, is there? Let's fix that after we're done. We're just super dead. Let's put a couple of Wonder Drugs in here and see if that can help us stabilize a little bit against these aggressive decks. Hey, we finished our Serpent quest. We got that going for us. Claim some gold and some stuff. Play Misanthropia 5 times. Yeah, baby. Got that one on lock. Yeah, Wonder Drug's a yellow staple for a reason. Card's real good. It's a lot of Vicious Cycle. Yeah, Scourge of Serpents is probably fine. Let's try this. Okay. Opponent's playing the impel, which means less likely that they're aggressive. I'm gonna burn Wonder Drug. Don't really need that one in our opener. Gonna get these mazes out and hopefully draw some cards with them. Blue-red. Maybe they are an aggro deck. This can drain 3 life off itself to draw us a card, and every turn it gains 1 life. So, often draws 1 card, can sometimes draw 2 if it lives for a while. This card's terrifying. It has rush and adjacent minions have rush, which just like. So, if I stun this, does the rest of its text, does it still give adjacent minions rush if it's stunned? Does anybody know? How does that work? It does still give rush. Okay, I'm gonna play Firesong Prodigy over this way, so these trade, and then I can kill this with Ignition next turn. What was the reason I gave up on Hearthstone? The deck building lacks depth in Hearthstone. Not only does the way Hearthstone restrict you to playing cards with your class limit deck building depth, but the fact that they have that core set of cards that like never rotates, and like every class could play, meant even different classes had a lot of similarity between them. Tend to make the gameplay felt stale quickly. One of the things I think Mythgard has done much better than a lot of other card games that try to take Magic and remove resource variance like Hearthstone and others is I feel like this game's done a really good job of removing resource variance while keeping a lot of that deck building depth that I really like in Magic and card games. So, Magmataur, when it comes into play, it deals 3 damage to everything that lanes across from it. So it'll deal 3 to the 6/6, and then we can trade off next turn. This will overrun on me for a few points of damage, but still getting a 1-for-1 there, basically.
Fire and stone.
Something that I would like to kind of like make note of here is that like we're ahead in this game right now, but the reason we're ahead is like kinda because we haven't drawn the stretcher or the dragon's tooth. So like, we're winning this game, but we're winning this game because we're just playing good cards. We're not winning this game because our deck is, like, the theme of our deck is good. What's that do? Gives a minion, turn a minion to a vampire and gives it life tap, agile, and gets 1/1 after killing another minion in combat. Well, I'm glad I have Magmataur here to finish this off.
Flame, take you.
I'm gonna go ahead and burn this bull. This artifact here, Sea Lord's Trident, says if I don't own a 4, if I don't control a 4/2, I can pay 3 to make a 4/2, which gives me endless units. Magmataur is a very good unit. This is a red staple. Most red decks play some number of him. Gets +1/+1 after killing another minion in combat. Gets a standard action when another vampire hits your opponent. All right, so we're gonna play Sapo here, which destroys the thing across from him. I can't speak to free-to-play experience on anything. When I dove into Hearthstone and tried to make a little Hearthstone content in addition to playing it off-stream at the beginning of last year, I think I ended up spending like $1,300 or something like that on it. Hearthstone is not cheap to be a whale on either.
Hey, oil!
Smash.
Alright, so they're at 26. I could probably just race them here, honestly. I get to Ignition to finish this off. I have this to make this a 4/2. I really don't want to play Dragon's Teeth, right? Because they're like out of gas. I can impel over the 3/1. Yeah, it's whatever. I think there's a lot of right ways to eat this Reese's. This deck kind of makes me want to build a... It kind of makes me want to build a like a red yellow artifacts deck. I did, in fact. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. There's not a wrong way to win this game. It's all gonna work itself out. Shake it all out. Yeah. So we're on the scoreboard finally, but that game there was won not because of like what the theme of what our deck is trying to do, but we won it because like we explicitly didn't draw those elements of our deck. Yeah, probably, Tom. I was definitely sloppy at several points that game.
Reporting.
Looks like someone playing the aggro deck, so we'll get a chance to see if we can do anything other than just get run down here. So, if I want to play the maze on 1, I then can't play Firesong Prodigy on 2. And I think it's important that I'm able to play Firesong Prodigy on 2 here. Is it? Maybe it's not. Never not maze. Yellow 1-drops and red 2s have some tension between them. Little bit of awkwardness. How do you relocate this? Catharsis?
mission.
Alright, I mean... Alright. Dragon's teeth, I guess. Oh, this blocks, right? Alright, sure. None of those are artifacts, unfortunately. So we're letting both players draw 2 cards a turn. See if this ends up biting us. Shillings to timeout mods? Maybe. I don't know. It's just tough to manage that. I already kind of get, like, hit points where I miss things during the stream. So I don't know that I really want to miss something like that where someone's, like, expecting a tangible thing to happen right away. I feel like that would probably be a recipe for disappointing people. Alright, so let's burn this sapo. Oh, once we're done drawing. And then play Serpent's Den out here. Get to stall the board up. Again, this is enchantment makes a 1/1. And at the beginning of my turn, if this lane is empty, we get to make another 1/1. Every time they hit us, our artifact loses some durability. We've got Wonder Drug here, so our health isn't too much of a concern. There are not any Shillion errors. The amount that I set it up for will take someone approximately a year of regular watching to get there.
Fortune favors us.
We have one of those, Tom. The 5-mana thing that makes 2/2s. We're playing that. Alright, let's put another serpent in over here. Let's play effigy in the middle, draw a card. Opponent's got a nice full grip. Let's see if we're able to survive this out. I probably want to... Maybe I shouldn't have burned my other artifact. I probably want to prioritize getting another artifact out in front of this dragon's teeth. Serpent's Den on either side is good for keeping their board at bay, which is nice. Hopefully they position stuff this turn so that way this magmataur can pop in and kill a couple of things. Would be ideal. Just lets magmataur kill 2 over here, which is nice. So gotta burn a red card for magmataur, so let's do that. And then we'll drop this here and kill those. We're gonna take another hit over in the mid. We're gonna take another hit in the middle this turn. That's not too big of a deal. If they hit some rush minions, we could be in a little bit of trouble, but so far they haven't found any, so we've been doing okay. Magmataur to the right of the snake. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, you're right. Because then this 2/2 would have stayed here, and then I wouldn't take this hit in the middle.
Flame, take you.
Yeah, it's a good suggestion.
Reporting.
Hoping to find a misanthropia here. Not only do we need to play it for that that faction quest, but cleaning the board out here would be ideal. Another magmataur, yep, and we'll put this in the right spot this time, so I'll put this over here.
Flame, take you.
Flame, take you. Burn my oak here. Firesong might be good with ignition to finish something else off. So, we're at a pretty high life total. Both players' hands are full of cards, but we're a little bit ahead on board. The serpents that have been just like punch the clock and like been working overtime. Might actually be okay to burn one of these wonder drugs. With how high our life total's been and how well stabilized these serpents in are keeping the board. Ringmaster is terrifying. This gives all other minions they play with 4 attack or less rush. Yep. Gross. Probably gonna want to firesong prodigy and clean this out if I don't draw misanthropia this turn. There's a stretcher. Okay.
Wanna burn?
Alright, so let's do this and kill this. And then let's burn. Huh? If I want to play this. If I want to play. I think I'm just playing a yellow card this turn. I'm going to play meso libre here in the middle to stun this 4-1 so I can't overrun over and kill this. And then next turn I can like deploy Dragon's Teeth and deploy Stretcher. Create a couple of these Dorkos, Forgelings, and get the board gummed up.
Splash.
Wow, I'm really surprised they spent a resource doing that. I imagine they should be spending all the resources playing cards every turn. So next turn we're going to go up to 8 resources. We'll go Teeth plus Stretcher, which should create a 2 and 3 cost Forgeling. So we can go Teeth, Stretcher, 3 cost Forgeling somewhere. Snakes are going to repopulate. I'm really surprised they keep attacking my snakes. They're basically just like giving me free points of damage on these. I guess if they don't attack them, I just slide them over. So maybe it's a wash. Yeah, maybe it's just a wash. So I already have a Teeth out here, so it doesn't matter which order I sequence these in. Oh, well, now they killed my Teeth. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate. All right, well. Huh? Kill this, I guess. We need to put a form through the website for Gullart. You do. Yeah, I track everything through there, Terran Terror. Just the form. The form helps me just keep track of like who I emailed back, basically. Are they going to be able to kill my Teeth here? They might be able to kill my Dragon's Teeth here. Or me. Why did I burn my Wonder Drug? I've made a huge mistake, chat. I made a huge mistake. I thought we were further ahead than we are. Oh, we're so super dead. Well, you know. I don't think it mattered. Think we're dead regardless. With the temptation. Temptation lets them steal and eat my thing. Yep. Ugh. Yeah, this deck felt pretty bad. I don't know. I feel like in order to improve this, I would have to like go back and look at what past Jeff did. We played a yellow-red Stretcher deck once before that I think was a number of cards different than this. It was either a number of cards different or we were much luckier because we had a better run with that one. So I feel like if I was looking to improve this, I would start by digging back into my archives and looking at what that Stretcher deck was and what it was doing differently than this one. Yeah, so it was a bit medium for me overall.